And up to your commentator, Ray Warren.
Thank you, Graham. Reserve grade grand final. In charge is Chris Ward, and there's a very well-known sight. Steve Rogers in the number 6 jumper, but he's never taken out a grand final, the former Prince of Centres. Chance to welcome into the commentary team Bill Anderson, and joining us today, our very special guest, St George coach Roy Masters, will be offering his comments during this reserve grade grand final. Tell you what, it's a long way from the ground up to this commentary box. I'll tell you something else too, Bill Anderson. I'll let you know a little secret. I'm not sure who these guys are. Oh, I think I've got it. It's the Balmain side on screen now for you. Petherbridge, Lawson, French, Davidson, Bell, Ryan, Lane, Brooks, Owens, Schofield, Hemsley, Marquito and Whittaker. So let's have a quick look at the St George side. And there it is: Burgess, Wilson, Duval, O'Connor, Williams, Rogers, Lenane, Funnell, Fafita, Noak, Newham, Powell and Jones. Balmain running left to right in the first 35 minutes of this one, and that's John Fafita for St George tackle about 8 metres his side of the halfway.
This should be a game of quality, as both teams have lots of players of first grade standard. I would say that Balmain have the superiority in the forwards. They've got 4 players in the forwards who took place in the first grade semi-final last year, but I would also think that St George have somewhat of an advantage in the backs, where they're going to be led by their captain 5'8" Steve Rogers.
And so Roy Masters is now with us. And Roy, thanks for joining us on Grand Final Day 1984.
Very happy to be here, Ray. Obviously just left a disappointed St George camp, where again we've been pipped by a point by those greasy eels from Parramatta.
Yes, I half expected the fireworks would start fairly early on, but here's a bit of luck for you, Roy, with St George getting a penalty about 12 metres out from the Paddington Hill corner.
Young Steve Lenane tapping the ball out there. Outstanding player. We're very happy to have him, and we believe that he's going to go a long way with the club.
That's Rick Powell in the 13, taken to ground. St George are only about 8 metres out from the line as it's worked across to Newham. Some very big front row forwards doing combat out there in this reserve grade grand final. A set play by St George. It backfired, and no score in reserves. The match just underway if you've just joined us, and Greg Lane coughs the ball up, and that's a very valuable piece of possession for St George. And away goes Jones from dummy half.
Well taken. Oh, O'Connor's lost the ball.
Michael O'Connor dropping it with the line just 2 metres in front of him. And so it'll come out for the line dropout now between the sticks.
The line dropout.
Yes, St George at least got the bonus of getting possession back. Pilot line dropout, and they get 2 points in front now from the mandatory kick for the fact that the line dropout has gone out on the full.
Balmain fullback Rod Petherbridge taking the line dropout. He went for everything, and he's put it out on the full, so it's going to be the very easiest of penalty kicks for St George winger Brad Wilson. Roy, thank you. As I said earlier, in first grade will be uninterrupted. So Wilson moves in and politely puts it between the uprights. The flags are in the air. So St George draws first blood in the reserve grade grand final, and they lead Balmain by 2 points to 0. Out now to Ryan. Played by the centre three-quarter Jamie Davidson, and this is Hemsley.
Tackle by Jones.
5 gone, and across from Whittaker it's out to Owens. He puts the kick up. They all look to be onside, bar maybe the number 10. And it's a penalty to St George, well read by the referee. The number 10 was the only fellow in front of the kicker, Michael Schofield. Welcome back to the cricket ground. Reserve grade grand final in progress. And down on the sideline, Graham McNeice is with, I believe, one of Parramatta's staunchest supporters, John English.
He certainly is one of Parramatta's staunchest supporters, Ray. Personalities galore out here at the cricket ground, as you say. John English is with us. You're no stranger to a grand final.
No, I've been to a few now. And, yeah, it's just a great day. It's one of the magic days, I think, in Sydney all year.
Anything fair will go today.
Well, I think it's their turn. You know, like
It's been an attempted penalty. About 10 metres into Saints territory. About 20 metres in. Hits it Brooks. It looks sweet off the boot. He's got it. That's the equaliser. Balmain and St George. 2 points all. Wilson tackle for St George. Mid-State Television has now joined us. Orange, Griffith and Dubbo. Welcome to the telecast via Network 10 Australia of the grand final day here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. We're in the first half of reserve grade with Balmain and St George 2 points all, but that could be 4-2 in favour of the Tigers when Brooks takes this kick for goal from right in front. Quick Hill were jam-packed in there. Seemed like a waste of good space.
Oh, they'll all turn up. They're just having a glass or two of champagne before they come.
Here's the kick by Brooks. He's got it. Balmain have hit the front. They're leading St George by 4 points to 2. Balmain is in there against probably one of the stiffest contestants he'll ever come across in reserve grade, Steve Rogers, who didn't make the tackle, but what he did do, he herded Ron Ryan back into a lock forward, breaking from the scrum.
Well, of course, Rogers is a player of international quality, but I think Ryan will be able to hold his own today. He's a player that I've been particularly impressed with when he's played first grade or reserve grade, and what I like about him most is that he knows what to do when he gets into the opposition quarter. He's got skills of a little grubber kick, and he just knows how to score a try, and sometimes that's a quality that a lot of footballers lack.
Well, it's
that's a penalty.
Marquito. Well,
Yeah, we should have been penalised for being inside the 5 for a start.
well, I thought he should have been penalised for not facing goal when he played the ball. I'll tell you what, that's nearly a try. No, he's lost it. He's lost it, Mike Marquito. Yes, I think you're right, Bill. I thought Marquito was facing the sideline more so than at the goal line, and that's probably where the penalty should have been given. But play's been allowed to go on, and St George, with Funnell playing it out on the 32, takes it up to the Balmain players. Jones did well. Rogers passes. Note gives the ball to O'Connor. O'Connor gets it back to Linane. Linane looks to spread it back to the right where the numbers were good for St George, but he couldn't get the ball away. Here's Rogers now, looking for that sideline. He'll find it. It came off the hand of a Balmain player. This should be a St George feed. Yes, I think Chris Ward has picked it up in play. He has, and he's indicated that it'll be a St George feed with St George loose head.
You can see a lot of things from our high spot that you...
Pressure, 15 metres out from the line. It's Balmain attacking. Here's Lawson. Lawson's about 8 metres away from the line. Dummy half is Whittaker. Across to Marquito, a cut-out pass. It's gone to Schofield. Schofield to Petherbridge. He's passed the ball and hoped that he might find somebody, and it's Linane who's tackled into touch.
You were lucky then.
You sure were, Roy. And a scrum will go down 5 metres away from the St George line. It's desperate time for St George. We're inside that last 5 minutes before half-time. Balmain have enjoyed the better of this one.
Very important scrum, this one, for St George. If they don't come up with it, it's against the feed for them. If they don't come up with it, they're going to be under a lot of pressure in this last couple of minutes, and this is the danger zone just before half-time.
Ball fed and won by the Saints, and they've got the ball on the blind side.
Well, that's interesting. Three of the last 4 scrums have all gone against the head.
And we'll have all the fun of the fair leading up to the grand final. I'm told that the spectacular in front of the grand final this year is the top of all. Marquito loses it, and he's hurt, Marquito. Hemsley, I see he's got his head heavily bandaged now, and there's blood streaming from a wound that came from that kick in the face that he got. Hemsley, he looks like he's come out of a Cowboys and Indians movie. He's bleeding profusely from a gash that they'll stitch up at half-time.
He'd have to be Kit Carson, wouldn't he, with that long hair and bandito around his head?
Squirting some water into his mouth, and Kerry Hemsley is going to leave the field, I think, early. They'll get to work on him pretty quickly. an awesome sight, isn't he? It's an awesome sight at any time, Kerry, but with that bandito around his head and blood streaming from under it.
Sure is. If he breaks through, I'll leave him to you.
You wouldn't like to meet him down the back of Chinatown, would you? Wilson now with a chance to equalise. It's long and low, and it hits the upright and bounces away. The siren has sounded. The end of the first half. No tries, but I do feel that Balmain has had the better of it, and they lead St George by 4 points to 2.
Well, the ball's been coughed up in the play of the ball.
Here's Powell going across the back of the ruck and being tackled on the Balmain 22. Saints working up for something here. Lanane across to Rogers. Rogers puts the bomb back, and O'Connor's coming through fast. And by Jove, that was close. Was leaping, and the Balmain players didn't quite know where the hell it had gotten to, and there it is, forced by the Balmain number 4, James Bell. So the Tigers turn the Dragons away again as Burgess brings it back. Balmain's reunion, they've got a big one on Monday night. Keith Barnes asked me to mention it. What time does that start, Bill?
I've got no idea, Ray, but I know that Wayne Pearce was particularly interested that all ex-Balmain players should get to it, and I think if they contact the Balmain Leagues Club, that Keith Barnes could give them all the information they'd want.
This Monday?
This Monday.
Fine. Out to Lanane, across to Rogers. He cuts out for Feeder. He gives a long ball out to O'Connor. They're going to have to watch him. O'Connor's got them beaten. He's going to score! First try of the reserve grade grand final, scored by Michael O'Connor off a gem of a pass from Steve Rogers, and Roy Masters, now you can cheer.
Well, he's a wonderful player, Michael. He can step off either foot. He stepped off very well off his left foot then, and he had no worries at all about beating the fullback. In fact, he could have made it a little bit safer and passed to his outside support. But he had all the confidence in the world. He would beat him.
He certainly is a confident player. He beat David Brooks very easily with a fend.
Well, there was a lot of class in this try. First of all, the Rogers pass. It was a second-man play. He missed the feeder. Shot it across to O'Connor. O'Connor beat the first defender off the left foot, stepped through another tackle, became one-on-one with the fullback, used his left foot step once again, and plants the ball down under the post for a tremendous St George try.
Everything that Michael O'Connor did there in that little piece of play was right out of the manual. He had the ball in the right arm to carry it. He had the other arm free, a bent arm that he was able to fend and spring off Brooks as he got rid of him. Perfect piece of football by Mike O'Connor.
And it only gives Balmain more reason to want to buy him for next year, as they're fairly tipped to do.
And there's the attempted conversion. It's successful from the wing three-quarter, Brad Wilson. And Saints are leading Balmain now by 8 points to 4 in the reserve grade grand final.
And I wouldn't write them off as yet. They're a side which tries to the death, and if Balmain can put one more try on the board, I'm sure that they'll go on and lay another try after that.
Played by Hemsley. Away from dummy half goes Bell, and he's taken it towards the centre. He's only about 15 metres out from the St George line. Played back to Whittaker. It's gone to Lane. Lane gets the ball around to Petherbridge. Petherbridge coming onto it very strongly. Ron Ryan is a dummy half now. Marquito's to the left, Lane is to the right. It's with Marquito. He goes up and tries to pop a ball down. He does. Whittaker was there, and Whittaker is held a metre out from the St George line. Played back to Schofield, spun to Ryan, given to Owens. He steps off his right foot, turns it back to Ryan. Ryan comes back to the Noble corner. It's with Bell. Bell looks around for support. He finds Marquito, and Marquito has scored. That's the equaliser. They worked on it, Balmain. They kept the ball alive. They went one way and then came back to the other side of the ground just as quickly. And eventually St George ran out of numbers, and Marquito simply had to dive over to score. It was here that Owens came back inside. He was turned inside, and Ryan threw that long ball to Bell. Bell did well here to stand. He wasn't completely cleaned up, and Mike Marquito dives in to pick up a Balmain try.
Well, this was a lot of light ball football, really. Balmain turned the ball one way. They'd run out of numbers on that side, so they switched it back through Ron Ryan. And, geez, a clever footballer, this fellow. Threw the long pass over the top to James Bell, the Balmain centre, who hasn't had a great year with Balmain, but he's hit back in the semi-finals. They made the reserve grade side. And what do you know? Michael Marquito, a front rower on the wing, and in he goes for the 4 points.
So the attempted conversion will be taken by David Brooks. He's right on the touchline. 24 metres out. Marquito on camera, the try scorer. So Brooks from the sideline. He's got this. Oh, magic kick. How sweet it was for David Brooks. Balmain leading Saints now by 10 points to 8.
That fellow in 3, that's Jamie Davidson.
Jamie Davidson. Mark Lawson was the one to go off the field, and they moved James Bell out onto the wing.
Bell's gone to the wing, has he?
Yeah, Lawson's off the field.
Right. So many of these players you wouldn't see in a season of broadcasting, and a couple of them, Davidson and Bell in particular, and this 14 fellow, he hasn't helped very much, I'll give you the tip.
Paul Bevan, he's a good footballer too.
Oh, what a mistake. The fullback has dropped the ball for St George, and Davidson is within probably 3 blades of grass of the try line. Terrible trouble for St George now as the dummy half tries to plunge his way over but fails. It's played out there by French. It's gone out to Brooks. They spread it to Schofield. Onto Owens. Owens takes it up 15 metres out from the St George line. Played back to Whittaker. It's with Lane. Whittaker again. It's gone to Marquito. He's tackled. Flicks the ball out the back door. Picked up by Bevan. And Bevan is tackled 10 metres out from the line. That must be their 4th tackle. It goes now to Brooks, and Brooks hits up the side of the ruck. He's tackled on 5. Lane is to the right. It's gone back to Ryan for a bomb. I thought he was going to go for the drop goal. It looks too deep from here, but Burgess takes no risks and takes it over the dead ball line. He gets out of there. Jones goes in. Here's Funnell. Funnell in the number 8 jumper, holding them at bay. Intercepted by Campbell. Touch judge in.
Well, maybe St George are going to get a penalty from this one. The touch judge has come on, and he came onto the field as soon as Balmain assumed possession.
Well, it'll equalise it if it is the case.
Score at the moment, 10-8 in favour of the Tigers. All the best from the Balmain camp to you, Jeff. Well, are you able to talk, Wayne?
The kick as well. We'll have a look and see how he goes.
Alrighty, it's 11 metres in from touch, 28 metres out. It's low. It's just wide. Just wide. And Bevan comes away with it in the number 14 jumper for Balmain. 2 from 3 for Brad Wilson. A chance to equalise in the grand final. In fact, I think that's about where Michael Cronin took that kick for Parramatta when he had the chance to draw level with the Saints, Roy.
77, that's true.
So we welcome in viewers now through RBN2 Wagga. And also joining us at this stage is Albury, because they work off the same link, I believe, RBN and...
Something that's been a try scorer for you this year. This is the time to produce it. 1 minute to go in a grand final. The last throw of the dice.
Trip over the top, Bill. There's nothing else you can do, really.
Well, they got 40 seconds to do it in.
It's going to make it hard also, Roy. Balmain a back point keeper now. Greg Lane, their halfback, and he's there to tidy anything up that should come that way.
Yeah, maybe a grubber along the ground, anything, you know, just hoping for a freakish bounce.
O'Connor plays the ball inside his own 22. This is Walsh. Long ball out to Graham Buckley, and Buckley is hit by the Balmain defence. 12 seconds to go, and a penalty to the Saints. Ryan's been in there the last couple of tackles working for this penalty. There's the countdown from the crowd. St George are going to lose this one unless this is a miracle. It might be a miracle ball from Funnell. He could have possibly kept it alive. 3 players on his left are standing there saying, why didn't you give it? Why didn't you give it? The groan of anguish came from the coach.
He had 3 men on his outside, one of whom was Michael O'Connor.
And he can run a bit. So Balmain have taken out the reserve grade grand final. Players rushed to their diminutive coach, Peter Duffy. Good servant of the Balmain club is Peter. And Balmain have taken out the reserve grade grand final they're going to try and get down to the ground. To Wayne Pearce, who should have little or no trouble in getting an interview from one of these guys.
Yeah.
So they hold their captain, Mike Marquito, aloft.
One's got to feel sorry for Steve Ross.
And let's go down to the sideline. And here's Wayne Pearce.
Yes, Ray, it's ecstatic scenes down here from the Balmain camp. Battered and bruised bunch, but they're looking very, very happy. Kerry Hensley looks like a battled warrior, but he's over there screaming, blood screaming everywhere. It's just a great scene down here from the Balmain camp.